shit. Hey, babies. We're live, right? Okay, welcome to Wrestle Pure's Divas Episode 3. I'll be your host today. My name is Isra. You guys probably know me by now. If you've watched Wrestle Pures, maybe you know me from Twitter at Rollins. If you're new here, thank you for joining. We hope you enjoy. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications, follow all of us, all that good stuff. Today, I'm so excited because I'm joined by two beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, just flawless specimens who are also longtime wrestling fans and also longtime friends of mine. So this is like extra special to me because I know these girls, I know that they know their shit, who are also longtime wrestling fans and also longtime friends of mine. So this is like extra special to me because I know these girls, I know that they know their shit, who are also longtime wrestling fans and also longtime friends of mine. So this is like extra special to me because I know these girls, I know that they know their shit, who are also longtime wrestling fans and also longtime friends of mine. So this is like extra special to me because. Are we good? All right. Damn, it's chaotic already. It's been like 2 minutes. All right, so today we're going to be talking about like, a few things. We're going to go over the Shield a little bit because it is a national holiday for us. Well, for me. Just the current state of wrestling, maybe Survivor Series. I'm still processing everything that happened, like literally right now. So we'll have to see about that one. But let me hear from you guys. Introduce yourselves. So I want to hear from the girls. Let the audience know who you are and how you got into wrestling. Let's start with Jade. Sis, we cannot hear you.
We can't.
You're muted.
My name's Jade. I started watching wrestling at 5. And I actually remember the first match I ever watched was Undertaker versus Edge, Hell in a Cell, SummerSlam. Classic. And I've really just been watching wrestling since then. I actually just got back from a wrestling event just now. So wrestling is all I do, all I talk about. So I'm ready to get into this. And
yeah, let's go. I think is that Jade's like audio?
What's going on?
So wait, if you mute,
Is it fixed?
Girl, I don't know. All right, just unmute whenever you want to talk. It's yours. It's all good. So yeah, Angel, go ahead. Let's hear from you. Introduce yourself. Let us know how you got into wrestling too.
Okay, well, my name is Angel. I've been watching wrestling literally my whole life. My whole family is wrestling fans, from my mom to my grandma to my grandpa. Literally, my whole family watched wrestling. So I didn't have a choice. They were like, you want to sit down and watch this or you going to go to sleep? So I was watching wrestling. Look, they were turned up. And my first match I ever seen was, I believe, a Jeff Hardy match. And after that, I was hooked. And I've been watching it ever since.
Actually, let me get into mine too, because I don't think I mentioned that on the podcast. But basically, I was totally new to America. And in my country of Iraq, we weren't watching no WWE. So we were totally new to America. It was a family of 8. We were sitting in this house that we just got. And all of us crowded watching just whatever was on TV. And we just stumbled upon SmackDown. And I remember so vividly, it was the Big Show versus Brock Lesnar in that match in 2003 when they broke the ring. And I swear that just woke something in me, because there's no reason why that's one of my first memories of life. I remember that being so crazy, and my family was going nuts because we had never seen anything like that before.
For real.
And it just became a ritual. Eventually, some of my siblings just weren't really interested, but then it became a ritual with me and my father and my brother, and we would watch wrestling. We'd watch SmackDown literally every single week, and it just became our whole thing. And after my father had passed away, I kind of stopped watching wrestling entirely. It kind of became a negative thing for me. And it took me a few years to really kind of cope and really move on. And I watched some old DX matches like on YouTube, and I just kind of stumbled upon it. And I remembered like all these good memories from like my childhood. And then I kind of spiraled. I went down this like rabbit hole. The first WrestleMania that I watched coming back was 29, and it was shambolic. It was literally so terrible. I don't know how that was the WrestleMania that basically like brought me back to watching WWE weekly, but it just happened like that. And I remember like being obsessed with the Shield. I mean, specifically Seth.
I should have known.
It was it was the Shield and Daniel Bryan, mostly because like it reminded me of like all of the wrestling that I enjoyed as a kid. But then the rest of wrestling was pretty bad. Like I really didn't care for most of anyone. And yeah, and then like NXT came around and there was like a lot of other things that caught my interest. And it's just been a journey. Like it really, like I could go on for hours. But
I relate too, though. I feel like we all stopped watching wrestling for a point in time, especially when I was young too. I stopped watching wrestling for a couple of years, and I didn't start watching wrestling again until maybe when NXT started to become a thing. Because AJ Lee had me in a grip. I know. A lot of people don't like her, but I'm sorry. She had little me in a chokehold, and once she left, I was just like, I don't want to watch this shit. So I started watching NXT, and I kind of stopped watching Raw and SmackDown. And once I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown, it took me a long time to watch it again. I didn't start watching it again until Sasha made her debut on, what was that, Raw? If I'm not mistaken, when she came out with Team Bad and Team PCB and all of that. That's when I really started watching wrestling again, and I was hooked. Lord.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks.
We just got our first super chat. We just started off with a bang. Bam, you're a real one. Like, he said 2 A shows within 2 days, only on Wrestle Purist. With the holidays around the corner, if you all could gift one wrestling match for someone new to see for their first, which would it be? Isra, do you plan to do more interviews? The Melina one was goated. So I'm going to answer my portion first. I do totally plan on doing more interviews. It was the Melina one. Honestly, it just happened by chance. Like I just shot my shot, and she was she was just so down, and we just had a conversation, like, you know, one-on-one at first, and it just blossomed into what it was. And so that interview was very special to me for that reason. But yeah, I totally plan on doing more interviews. I want to reach out. I want to hear from more wrestlers. I want to be able to kind of pick their brains, because I think a lot of interviewers tend to be a little. They don't really want to ask what like people really want to hear.
Right. They don't want to ask the questions that we want to know. I agree. Because I be watching the interviews of wrestlers, and it's the same thing. How did you get into wrestling? Who was your dream opponent? Shit like that. Like, I don't want to hear that. Get into the tea. Like.
Oh, I just saw Peach in the comments saying we need Rollins x Rollins. I would literally pass away if I was to do an interview with Seth Rollins. I can't even imagine. I feel like our interaction would be just so sassy. It would just be like a sass off. But
I feel like it would be.
That's crazy. Even when I met him, like it was a really sassy exchange, because I was like, I suggested this one pose, and he looked at me and he was like, we're not doing that one. I'm like, okay, well, let's do this one then. And he was like, all right, I'm cool with that. And it was just like, he's sassy as hell, but he's really nice. But in a sassy way. I feel like we kind of speak a similar language.
Right. Nah, but she would have also
wanted to know
the clapbacks.
What was that?
Yeah. I said you would have him with the clapbacks though. You be on it. You be like this.
Yeah, you got to. So Bam also wants to know if we could gift one wrestling match for someone new to see for the first time, which would it be? So Jade, unmute.
I'm pretty sure I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay. That was traumatic.
So what would the match be?
What was the question?
Bam wants to know, with the holidays around the corner, if you all could gift one wrestling match for someone new to watch, what would it be? So this match has to be a gift from God.
This would be so. Since the theme is Rollins today, I want to say the basic route and go with the triple threat at Royal Rumble with Brock Lesnar and John Cena. because that's my favorite match of his. So that's probably the one I would go with.
I'm gonna be head ass. You already know my answer. Any Sasha Banks match, there.
Literally
but
any of them.
Probably Sasha versus Bailey at Takeover. Either one of them, because those two matches changed my fucking life. I'm not even trying to joke. Like, it really changed my life, and that's what really made me like want to wrestle when I watched that match. But Lord, I say Sasha and Bailey, or yeah, Sasha and Bailey, because that match is goated. Seth Rollins was crying, so even that was a goated match.
This is really hard because like there's so many matches that like I want to put people onto. I'm
Me
gonna go with
too.
something really underrated, and I'm gonna say Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali
That was
on
good
205
too.
Live, because that match is so slept on, but everyone that's watched it felt something. Like you could just, it was just two hungry guys that just like wanted to get at it, and it was very special. That's a very special match to me. In my opinion, that should have been a career-defining match for Mustafa. So it sucks that you know, management didn't see that in him with that match, because it was so special. But yeah, I think I would give that match.
That's a good match. I like that. I like that answer. That's a really good match. I like Jade's answer too. Y'all know I'm not big on Seth Rollins, but look, I'll give him credit when credit is due. He do be eating.
Yeah,
he do be eating.
Pre-ACL Seth Rollins.
Yeah, pre-ACL Rollins, he was a menace.
I don't know. Last night Seth was wrestling like pre-ACL Seth. Like I don't know what he was shooting up with, but so Brahima said, "Gotta go back to work. Good luck, ladies. Love the energy. Thank you for doing this. The wrestling space needs this." Aww. Thank you. We appreciate the super chat. And you're right. Like I feel like the wrestling space does need more women's voices, like
especially
black
yeah,
women.
especially black women and people and women of color, because Lord knows.
Let us say something.
Right. Let's just
yep.
down quiet.
No, I specifically was like, well, me and Jay been wanting to join do a podcast together, but I'm just like, this is such an amazing opportunity to platform Black women. So I'm like, I needed to hit up Angel too. And also I did hit up Winter as well, but she's busy today. She's a friend of the podcast. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to build like the Black Women Avengers wrestling fans and just like give y'all the floor. Because that's something that I genuinely believe in. Like, this is not no pandering shit. Like, I genuinely do think like y'all deserve the platform and we need to see more of that. And like, I just love to see it. So yes.
I agree. We do need more Black women in wrestling. We need more Black women anywhere in these job spaces, because we don't have it, especially in the wrestling community.
Yeah. Just wrestling, non-wrestling, all of that. Because like I said, I saw last night that Trish Adora will be going to Japan. And when I tell you, I was so fucking geeked over that. But I've been advocating for that for months. So to see more Black women in wrestling, I think it would also pull a whole new generation and a whole new to Japan. That's something we need.
Right, because growing up, we didn't have that many Black wrestlers to look up to, especially women. We only had Jazz,
Alicia Fox,
and Naomi, really.
Yeah.
And then she's gone. You know?
Right. Alicia's gone too. All we got is Bianca now. We got
it's so crazy to think that, because with the whole diversity thing that WWE's been trying to push, you would think that it would be more than just Bianca on the main stage.
Exactly.
Was there any other Black women in the War Games last night besides her?
Mia Yim.
Obviously there was two Japanese women.
Mia Yim.
Oh, Mia Yim. That's right.
Mia Yim, but that's still not enough. Like,
no, because like I said, whenever I think of a wrestler who looked exactly like me, I think of Naomi and I think of Alicia Fox.
Right.
And although they weren't used to their fullest potential, they did give us the representation we needed. They weren't used as their fullest potential, you know? Like,
exactly. Especially with Alicia. They had her. That pissed me off. Like, the older I got, the way they treated Alicia kind of just didn't sit right with me. Especially because they always made her crazy. Like, be serious. Be fucking for real.
I remember, like, you remember that running meme that these, like, marks had about Cameron when she told Stone Cold that her favorite match was Melina versus Alicia Fox? And that became like a running joke for way too long. Like the joke had died like 5 minutes after it was made, but they just kept going with it. And like in hindsight, it's like, why wouldn't that match have inspired her? Like you see like a Latina woman and a Black woman like having two in a very underrated division that's underutilized, having a good match. And like, why wouldn't that inspire you as a Black woman?
Exactly. But I feel like just because Stone Cold made a big deal out of it, they wanted to make a big deal out of it. You know, monkey see, monkey do type shit.
Yeah.
Yes, that still goes on today. What pisses me off is that you want people to appreciate these wrestlers, but you say, "Oh, my favorite match is Melina versus Alicia Fox," and you get clowned for it. Like that's just shitting on not only them but the people in those matches. So, I just think that monkey see, monkey do, like you said, and we should just appreciate the wrestlers we have today, especially those who are underrepresented, like Black women and Latina women.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot to say, but Rob, thank you for the super chat. He sent in $20. He said facts. Absolutely.
Thanks, and shout out to Rob with the Ice Spice picture, because we love Ice Spice over here.
Yeah,
that's not even his type.
How could you lose if you already chose? Like, favorite women's wrestler on the indies? Non-WWE, non-AEW or WWE?
I have a lot, but
yeah, Jade, the floor is yours because I don't know as much.
I know a little.
I'm gonna plug one of my good friends that I saw wrestle today, and that's Jada Stone. Watch out for her.
I love her.
Yeah, I love her. She's amazing. Viva Van, Queen of the West Coast. She's amazing. Also, she recently had a tryout. Let's see. Oh, Trisha Dora, and Queen Aminata. I love Queen.
I love her too. She's so cute, and she be killing it.
Yeah, I'm new to her, but like from the very little that I've seen, I'm a fan.
Yeah, she's so cute, and her gear cute. So if you got good gear, I'd be drawn. I feel like that's the Leo in me. If I like your aesthetic, I'll most likely be drawn to you. Like you could be an all right wrestler. If you got a nice aesthetic and I'm feeling you, we good. Because they let white people be, they let white people be mediocre all the time. So
yeah,
I'd be supporting. I support, but I'm trying to think about which indie wrestlers that I like as for women. I do like Jada. I just seen her a couple of weeks ago on Instagram, or was it Twitter? Someone had posted her on Twitter. I'm not too sure who it was, but I do like her. She's dope. I loved AQA when she was back in NXT. I love AQA. I feel like I'm missing so many people. I love, what's her name? I like Hyon. She's a wrestler here in Texas. Dang, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of so many wrestlers. I know this is AEW, but I love Thunder Rosa. I don't care. I love her. She gets
it done.
I feel like I've been like fighting for my life in like these group chats about Thunder Rosa because like she's just been like public enemy number one, and I feel like when people are constantly dogpiling someone and like making them into a villain, it's like it's much the way I see it. It's much easier to villainize someone and point out all the things that they've done that's wrong than it is to try to come from a place of understanding and see where they're coming from. Because like, you know, she might have been hard to work with. She might have been unprofessional, but what was the reason? Like she hasn't even been able to really explain herself.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said CM Punk be unprofessional. Look.
Right? I mean, when he came back and re-debuted in AEW, he was welcomed with open arms. And it's like, he was celebrated. And it's like, people have the right to celebrate him.
Yeah.
But it's like, why is it when it's a woman, it's a much bigger deal? I feel like the AEW fan base in general is just like extremely hard on her.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's just
for me, I'm mostly,
really
my girl is Julia from Stardom. She's my fave. She's my fave.
Yes.
She's a great wrestler. She has a great presentation, even with the funky ass braids. Like, she looks even better without them. I got into her when she was like buzz cut Julia. Like she was like a different animal. Like that's when I kind of got into Stardom in general through her. So she's very special to me. I wish I can get into more indie wrestling with women because I'm sure there's like so much talent that I'm missing out on.
There's plenty.
I missed out on La Rosa Negra. Love her. I saw her
live today. She faced Janai Kai.
She's great.
she's amazing. Janai is amazing.
She is too. Is that the girl that has like the shaved sides?
The chick demon.
Yeah, I like her. She's so cool.
They had a great match. I actually, Janai also had a match with Evilise, which that was also good. But
so, AO, $50 super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you ladies for giving your much needed perspective on wrestling. Black and Iranian women greater than. Thank you. So for people who don't know, I'm Iraqi and I'm partially Iranian as well. So I appreciate that. But yeah, thank you, AO, for the super chat.
Someone said, "So glad Willow Nightingale got so much love." I like her too. I love Willow.
Her. I go so hard for her too. Like she's
so cute.
I feel like she's the future for sure.
Yeah. And she naturally got over as a face, which doesn't happen very often with the women. So she's got that down packed, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Bam.
Shout out to Bam.
If the reports are true that Sasha can take wrestling bookings starting next year, would you like her to do some dream matches outside of WWE or have her go back to WWE quickly for WrestleMania?
I have a lot of opinions on this, but I'm gonna keep it short. Honestly, I don't want her to rush herself back.
Me either.
The first time. So I wouldn't mind if she took like a year or two off, if even that, and came back. I just think what she needs to do is just focus on being Mercedes right now.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I do want her back in wrestling. Not too sure about WWE, but I do want her wrestling again. I don't care where it is. I'm gonna watch it. I don't care where she wrestles at. I do want to see her go to Stardom. How cliche, but I do. I feel like she would have some really good matches there. Also, there's some women in AEW that I feel like she would have good matches with. But I don't want her to rush it either, especially after what happened last time. So I just want her to take her time, figure out if she even wants to even wrestle anymore. Because I know she's branching out to like movies, shows, her own business. Like, I just want her to do things like different from wrestling. She's been wrestling for what, 12, 15 years now? Like,
she started training at 18, so yeah.
Right. And she's still so young, so she still has a lot of time to come back to WWE or wrestle if she wants to. But right now, I just want her to be happy, find herself outside of wrestling.
Exactly.
And once she does that, then I want her to come back. But I don't even know if I want her to come back to WWE because what's there left to do?
Her whole life has been wrestling since she was 18. That's all she's been doing. And I don't think she really had time to explore herself, even as a young woman. And I'm glad that she's doing that now. So that's why I'm like, everybody's like, oh, she's coming back this week. I'm like, dude, just let her start forming her craft outside of wrestling. Let her explore the things that she wanted to explore when she couldn't, because she was committing herself 300 days a year for 10 years.
Yeah. And also it's kind of like, it's just the principle of she poured herself into WWE and she literally gave WWE the best years of her life when she could have been improving her craft in other parts of the world. Like, she just was so down for WWE and trying to improve women's wrestling in this company specifically. So for them to kind of disrespect her and then expect her to just come back, it's like, this is a woman who obviously carries herself with respect and dignity. Mm-hmm. So, for her, it's like, the way I see it, there's no rush for her to come back to this company in specific, right? Because they can't keep getting away with this shit.
No,
you're not going to get in two Black women's faces, disrespect them, basically tell them to just like stay in their place and eat their food when they're not happy, instead of being like, okay, well, what if these concerns that they have are valid? And yes, we can say management has changed, but how much have things really changed? I think she's really smart for not jumping to come back. Like, as soon as Triple H, became whatever the fuck he is right now, she didn't just jump and be like, okay, like, Papa H. She's like biding her time, seeing how things play out. And I think that's just the smartest thing she could do.
Exactly. Because it's Sasha fucking Banks. Like, be serious. Like, she can go wherever she wants and she will just thrive. Like, I already know, like, not to dick ride or anything, but be serious. You could put Sasha Banks in any promotion and she's going to eat it. Simple as that.
Oh, and I mentioned this in the first Divas podcast, where I was basically saying in WWE, she's always been all the women's best opponent, but it's very rare that another woman brings the best out of her and elevates her. So it would be nice to see her in a place like Stardom where she has a completely different set of opponents that could elevate her and like teach her some new things and bring a different side out of her. And, you know, maybe if she decides to come back after that, she'll come back a completely different wrestler.
Right.
So why should she limit herself? And why should she have to bear the responsibility of having to elevate everyone else? People were chanting, "We want Sasha" last night during a match that was very subpar because they knew that if Sasha was here, it didn't matter who she was wrestling, it was going to be good. So why should that be her responsibility if this company is treating her like shit? Why should she have to elevate everyone else? Why can't somebody be the one to help elevate her? Exactly. Make her better.
Exactly. But I would love to see her in Mexico as well. I used to watch AAA a lot back in the day. And she would kill it in Mexico. I mean, I know she's been posting and training in Mexico for like, I don't know, a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
I know she would do good there too. If Lucha Underground was still a thing, she would devour it.
No, she really would.
She's just really the best.
It's so crazy, bro. You guys are amazing. I literally like have like a list of topics to like go down, and I feel like the conversation we're having is so much better than what I even like imagine. Like, you guys are amazing. Okay, so like I wanna get into a quick conversation with Jade real quick. Oh wait, we just got another super chat from a British motherfucker. Let's go. Wrestle Purists worldwide. Like, fuck you talking about? Keep up the great work, gorgeous queen. Israel, I miss you. Miss you too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the super chat. What is this? Euros?
I think it's euros.
It's euros,
yeah. Anyways. Jade. Hard Editing said, $5 super chat. Great answers. Also, Israel should absolutely interview you. Hyun, I would love to interview everybody. I want to be very like educated on just the landscape of wrestling and just, you know, elevate myself, help elevate Wrestle Purists. You know, I would love to do that. But
we support. We will Jade, be tuned in.
So I want an update on you real quick because you've been training for wrestling for how long?
Pause. So I've been in talks for training, and of course I've had some setbacks, but I've been just kind of low key about everything. Because like I said, it's been a wild ride for me, so I've just been jinxing myself with setback. I officially get to like actually start hitting people next week, so I don't want to get too like off the ropes, like all into it, because like I said, I've been having setbacks after setbacks anytime I think I'm going to start, but I will keep you updated as much as possible. But it's just...
No, honestly, you don't even owe anyone an update because sometimes you just don't want to jinx yourself. Like, I'm the same way.
But I can tell you updates about my experiences with wrestlers I've had lately. I met a lot of wrestlers yesterday. Hangman, very pretty. I met my idol Maria, which was the most amazing experience of my life. I literally cried in her arms for like a good minute, it was so embarrassing, but she was very understanding. You know, she's like, I want to cry with you too. And she basically just like gave me like, you know, her information and everything like that. She just said, keep me updated on your training as you go on. I was like, dude, like that is like, and that just told me right then and there, like, there's no reason for you to quit when you have so many people in your corner telling you that this is what you're meant to do. And we're willing to support you all the way there. And it's just a beautiful sport, and I'm just ready to, you know, get into it. It's been a long process, and I'm finally ready to just get it all in, get my shit in.
Yeah. No, when you get started, it's gonna be beautiful. What are some things that like you envision that you plan on bringing to wrestling, like in the future?
Dude, oh my God. First of all, being sexy, like this whole little era of, oh, I'm not like most girls, and you gotta wear certain stuff to be taken seriously. Like, there is nothing wrong with being sexy while also being able to whoop somebody's ass. Like, I'm sorry.
That makes you even sexier.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I never understood that whole like motive that, oh, well, we can't take her seriously because she's dressed like this or she looks like this. And I'm just kind of like, anytime I see a wrestler who looks like a baddie and can back it up in the ring, I automatically click.
Right. We stand.
Like Jamie Hayter, perfect example. Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks. You know, like there's some women who obviously go by that whole mold of like you have to look a certain way to be taken seriously as a women's wrestler, and it's not true. You know, like teaching women to take back their sexiness is something that we need to bring back into the art, because it it helps other with their confidence. You know, like being told like you're catering to a male audience makes you feel like, well, that's not what I'm trying to do. You know, like
Right.
my audience is wrestling fans, women, male and women. So I just think that being able to have these women understand that you can be sexy while also being in the ring is important, and we need to bring that back, definitely.
Also, there's definitely strength in owning your femininity,
Exactly.
especially coming into a male-dominated field and something that for the majority of its existence has basically belonged to men, and they've controlled everything, including the booking of women, how women are treated, da da da. So it's like when you kind of like own that and you say like, you know, there's strength in being feminine and owning it and stuff like that. It's like, I feel like if anything, that makes you tougher. That makes you
Exactly.
just as a formidable opponent as the woman that's more tough and maybe more masculine. It's like we need that in wrestling. Oh my god, I'm gonna like get off topic real quick. So I have like no interest in like being involved with like wrestling. Like I have my own separate goals in life and shit. But it's like whenever I picture like if I was to be a wrestler, it's like I want to have like an entrance with like 30 belly dancers and like just like have like bring kind of like my culture and like the women of my culture and just like have them like belly dancing and just make it super extra. And like because imagine like you never see anything like that in terms of like entrances or like how women present themselves, just like bring all these dancers and stuff. Like I always feel like that would be such a gorgeous aesthetic. And like I don't know, maybe one day someone will steal this idea from me because I want to see it. But
I agree.
But yeah, Angel, can I ask you the same thing? Because like you trained wrestling for like for a period of time, and like I know you personally, I know you're not interested at the moment in training again. But how was that experience for you while you were able to train? Like, what was that like? What did you learn from that?
I'm not gonna lie, I was so scared because at the time I was mad young. I was like 18, I believe 18, 19. It was really fun. I had no issues. I swear that was one of the most fun things I ever done in my life. Like it was hard. It was hard at first, but I feel like once you do it as much as, well, I didn't do it for that long, but I was there every week, every 3 days I was there every week. I learned a lot. Like I really learned a lot of with the business side of things more than like the wrestling side, but I'm so thankful that I learned the business side more, because that taught me, Lord, that showed me a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to see. And once you start wrestling, like once you train, you start looking at wrestling differently. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Once I started training, I started to watch wrestling as like, not as a fan. I know I don't know if they told Jade this, but when they told me when I started training, they said not to be too much of like a fan and to go at it as like, this is your job now, which I didn't really like. Cause I feel like as your job, you still can be like a fan of things, like especially when it comes to wrestling, because wrestling has been a big part of my life for so long. I don't just want to think of it as like, oh, I'm just doing this to get paid or just doing this as a job. I actually like to do it and watch it as a fan and get a fan's perspective as well. But they did teach me that. Also, those wrestling ropes, I know they look like they don't hurt.
Oh, them shit.
But they hurt. That is the worst thing to ever do. Running those ropes literally traumatized me. Taking bumps, those hurt, but not as bad as running the ropes. Running the ropes, I don't think I ever got over. And I did that for a year.
During your time, what was the worst bump you took?
Low key, one of the worst bumps I took was this, dang, I can't even remember the name of it right now, y'all. Please forgive me. I got body slammed off the top rope by a guy who was like 200, 300 pounds.
Shut up.
That was the worst bump of my life because I wasn't expecting to do that. Like, I didn't think I had it in me. Like, I'd be second guessing myself when it comes to like.
So how long were you
I'm
training?
processing the fact that you're talking about like a 250-pound man body slamming.
Yeah,
right.
And you weren't even there that long, so like, why were you bumping? Like,
dude, when I tell you, when I started training my first day, it was just like, go. Like, we were just learning shit. Like, I learned sunset flips. I learned body slams. I learned how to bump. I learned chain wrestling. I learned so much shit in the little amount of time that I did train. And I would obviously go back because it was really fun. I did like training and I would want to do it again, but I don't think I would want to do it as a wrestler. I think if I go back, I would do like more on the valet side. Cause I can still do a few bumps and still do a few wrestling moves, but I think valeting would just be way better for me. Cause one thing about me, I like to talk. And I could be the mouthpiece for somebody, but I didn't train for Matt. I trained for maybe a year on and off. And then COVID happened, so I had to stop. And once COVID happened, that ruined everything for me. And I just kind of fell out of love with wrestling. But I'm slowly working, getting myself back there because I feel like wrestling's been a part of my life for so long. I can't just let it go that easily.
Yeah, I have wrestling slumps every year. Usually like around Survivor Series is when I just kind of like, yo, I'm so over this. And then Mania season picks back up and that's when I get back into it.
Right.
But the reason why I've gotten so deep into wrestling, like I've never been this deep into wrestling, is because I broadened my horizon. You know, I started watching Japan. I started watching AEW. I started watching things in the UK. And if you like expose yourself to these other people, you're gonna get a different perspective. You're gonna realize, damn, the product that I'm watching is good,
but it could be better.
It could be better, and you can also get it from somewhere else. So that's how I had to look at it from that perspective.
I agree. That's really smart, though. I'd be trying to watch wrestling from like other companies and promotions, but lately I've just been like in an F wrestling mood. But it's not even the other promotions. It's all because of WWE. Like, it just
you can't let it do that. You can't let it do that because I used to be an avid WWE watcher. I still am, but I got into AEW. I gave AEW another chance, and I'm literally seated every single Wednesday, live tweeting every single Wednesday. And it's not because I think it's the best product ever. It's just something different,
Right.
And Tony Khan, he doesn't really do storylines and nothing like that, but he will give you a match every single week, and it's not the same thing. We can sit on WWE, watch New Day and Usos
every week.
So you can have the product that gives you the slow burns and the repeated feuds, or you can have something like, hey, we're gonna give you this match, enjoy it. Next week we're gonna give you this. Next week we're gonna give you this. And you're getting a taste of all these different things that you never thought would work, and it ends up working. So I really like that about having two different options.
So we got a super chat from Far5222, $10. Nothing but love. We need more Middle Easterns on Wrestle Purist. I agree. I don't know where they are. I feel very alone. If you can help me find, more Middle Eastern wrestling fans that are that have big personalities and are willing to get involved, like send them my way because I just don't know what it is. Like even in my circle of like real life people, like I'm like the only Arab like that likes wrestling. They're all like, why do you watch that shit? It's just not that popular in my community. So I try, but I'll work on it. AO said I said the wrong country. SMH, blame the edibles. Lil Durk collapsing gift. No, it's okay. It's okay. You're partially right. I am partially Iranian, so it's cool. And bam. Jay, do you want to get this one?
Sure. So Bam's asking, I honestly believe Jade versus Willow for the women's world title could be the first main event of a pay-per-view. Which program do I want to main event for the first time? That's actually kind of easy. Like, as much as I don't want to say it, I think the obvious answer would probably be Jade Cargill versus Britt Baker. I see that happening. Would I want it to happen? No, I'd rather see something like maybe I think Tony versus Jamie could be like a trilogy, and I think the final match could be something that can main event if they build it the right way. Because if you have noticed, like anytime these two women are in the ring, everybody's eating it up every single time. So if it's done the correct way, I genuinely think that they could also main event a program.
For me, I would say Athena and Willow, because they're both on such far ends of face and heel, or like Willow is just like so loved and Athena's a monster at the moment. Mm-hmm. And also they're my two favorite women wrestlers at the moment, AEW. So for me, it's like, I would like to see that. I don't know the probability of that happening and being, you know, a main event, but I don't know. I want to see both of them be women's champion, and I want to see them feud with each other because I feel like we can get some of like the best women's matches between them two.
Mm-hmm. Low key, I would want to watch that match too. That sounds like a dope match that I will be seated for. Yeah. But anything Athena does, she just be eating. When it comes to the wrestling aspect of it, she will chew down in the match, and I'd be seated.
Yeah. Do y'all want to get into a Survivor Series, or do you not care?
I mean, what's there to really talk about?
Actually, I to be honest,
anything like, positive to talk about, we can get that out the way.
I like the gears. I liked everybody kind of showed out with the gears.
Yeah, the women always show out with the gears. I liked how like with the men's war games, like they actually coordinated. Like that was really cute. I don't know. I feel like if I was to describe it in 3 words, it would be like chaotic, ridiculous, annoying. I don't know. It was just like I was having a really hard time getting into it. I
absolutely agree. I just feel like it's shit that we've seen before. Like every day is the same shit. Like, and if it's not the same shit, it's the same shit with different people.
I kind of didn't agree with a lot of the match setups. A lot of them weren't unnecessary or they didn't make sense in my opinion. Bottom, I think the War Games with the Bloodline, it should have been the Imperium, in my opinion.
I agree.
I don't know. They just threw this random team of, I don't know what they did. I don't know why they did that. Drew's going to always be there. Of course, I love him down. He's always going to be there. I guess they're programming Sheamus versus Roman now. Is that what's happening?
Kevin Owens.
I think Kevin Owens.
Why? That's like a full circle type thing. I don't know why, but I think Imperium would have made sense.
They kind of became like an afterthought, really, because they were his biggest ops, and now all of a sudden it's just like the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn telenova is starting to take off. And okay, that's my thing with this guy Triple H. Okay, you know
Here
what?
we go.
You drop the ball every single fucking time. It's like he starts out with like a decent idea, and he starts out with like something with promise, and then he completely like shits on it. And it just seems like all he does at this point is just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And then God forbid something really does stick, he just completely like, let's go with it. I just don't understand. Like, how can't you not be consistent? Why is like, okay, this is my issue. This is my issue. They had Mustafa and Seth start a feud, and it made Mustafa look good. And then the next week, he booked Mustafa to look like a dork. And then the week after that, he booked him to wrestle The Miz, literally a human walking bottle of NyQuil, to make him just completely slow down his momentum. And then he brought in Theory into the mix, brought in Bobby Lashley into the mix. Things just started to not make sense. How do you have gold, literally a gold mine sitting in front of you, and you're like, you know what, fuck all this. Like, I just want to completely shit on my own product. I'm going to take this loser who Vince McMahon booked to look like a goddamn loser. I'm going to have him cash in on them. I can't even. I'm going to have him cash in on a mid-card belt, lose. He's going to get spanked around by Bobby Lashley. He's going to get spanked by Seth Rollins. And then 2 weeks later, he's going to get the belt. What's the logic in that? What sense does that make in your fucking brain? For you to like act like, okay, he's gonna drop the cell phone gimmick. He's gonna take himself seriously and then win the belt. You haven't even built up his character, his redemption arc for him to win the belt. Literally out of nowhere, you gave him the belt. That shit made no sense. And he's been doing that like consistently with everyone. He's been doing it with the women. He's been doing it with the bloodline, like we were just talking about with them and the brawling brutes. And it's just like, I just don't understand how this is the man that had NXT and built it up from nothing and made people fans of wrestling again through NXT, through pure wrestling and pure built and like building up stars and being consistent with them. And now every single week he's bringing someone back from purgatory. He's not building them up after bringing them back from purgatory. He's just kind of letting them do whatever. Bring someone else back, let them do whatever. Rinse, repeat. It's the same thing. Like, how does he not see that this formula has not created any stars?
I agree.
And people were talking about like how terrible War Games was. It was dog shit. But then you look at the lineup of people, all the people that were like on the card, it was like the best of the best talent that's on the roster. And how do you drop the ball with that? Like, how do you run a program with Roman and Sheamus and Drew and Seth and Bianca, and you produce like some of the most just nonsensical bullshit matches with bullshit finishes when you literally have talent sitting right in front of you? At this point, like, Triple H just needs to take a step back. I don't know what he needs to do to like figure himself out again. We have Stephanie McMahon. We have Paul Heyman. You know, I don't know if y'all remember in the golden age of SmackDown, the SmackDown that we grew up on, Stephanie McMahon and Paul Heyman were the ones that were booking it. Maybe Triple H just needs to take a step back. And I, like, y'all know me, I literally love Triple H down. Like, I've loved him since I was a kid. So when he was able to take over management, like, I was excited. I was like, you know what? Like, he gets it. Like, he actually listens to the talent. He wants to build the talent up. And he's done none of that. Like, the first 2 weeks he came back and he put together, you know, a few weeks of Raw, a few weeks of SmackDown with wrestling matches. People were like, oh my God, like, we're getting TV matches, like, sick. Like, okay, what else? Like, he's just been getting on my damn nerves. Like, I don't understand how we have him on this pedestal when he's done the bare minimum, and not even just the bare minimum at this point, but just producing bullshit at this point. Like, I can't deal with it. And like I said, I love him. So like, I expect the best of the best to come out of him, especially after his competition being Tony Khan. He snatched up all of his guys. He's not even like, he might not even be using them. He might be using them, whatever the case might be. You lost all your guys. You can't just like bring every single person back and like expect the WWE crowd to just like, jump. You know, like start twerking for them. You need to build up your stars. And then God forbid the stars that have built themselves up, Seth Rollins, for the past, since 2019, since he had the worst year of his career, he was able to build himself back up. And then what? You put the belt on him, and that was the only thing that Triple H has done that has made a tiny bit of sense. And then what? Like, where is the consistency? Where is the actual, like, care for like putting together good storylines besides what the bloodline has going on? Because okay, the bloodline has an interesting story, but it's like kind of like, okay, well, now what is Sheamus gonna do if he's gonna go against Kevin Owens? It's just like a clusterfuck of just things that just don't make sense booking wise. Like, the shows don't make any fucking sense. And it's like, bro, at this point, like, I don't even want to even like watch right now until he gets his shit together. But if Seth Rollins didn't own me to the extent that he owns me, I would literally not be sitting through any of this bullshit.
You're better than me. I can't sit through it.
I'm sorry. I feel like I went on forever, but like I was. It's just been weighing on me, bro. Like,
I got beef with Triple H too. Ever since he didn't want to put the title on Bianca Belair in NXT when he had 3 fucking opportunities.
I promise you, if she wasn't champion right now, she would not be getting displayed as she is right now. I promise.
I agree.
If she wasn't champion right now, I don't know where she would be right now. But if she wasn't in her John Cena era, we would not be seeing her as much as she is right now. Because I don't know
what I mean. Like, these wrestlers, like, we talk about how bad Vince McMahon's booking was, but it's like the stars that were made during Vince's time, they're kind of just treading water right now. Like, they have their star power because they've been had it. There has been no buildup on like Triple H's end. It's like they're successful right now, kind of in spite of the way that he's been presenting them. And that's not fair to the talent at all. Because now, like, I feel like I'm jumping around from like talent to talent because there's just so much bullshit going on. But like Damage Control, for example.
Oh my God.
When they debuted, it was like, oh shit, like everyone was so shook. And then they booked them to look like losers every single week. I don't give a damn that they have the tag titles. Why are they losing on every single big match? And why am I supposed to believe that these girls are a threat and that they're here to terrorize the women's division? They're losers. And like, I love the three of them so much. So it's like, I don't understand why you have three amazing talents who, like, at this point, it's like on a silver platter for you. How do you mess up that bad?
Right.
Got a super chat.
Not
Banana Nose can't book baby faces, and Dusty Rhodes covered him in NXT between 2012 and 2015. He's a fraud and couldn't book a good baby face if I slapped him in the face. Shield were GOAT. Honestly, I think whoever it was, rest in peace to Dusty, that was in his circle in NXT, he needs to link back up with them. I don't know if y'all saw his tweet where he posted William Regal saying, "Oh, it's not the same without you." It's like, get your people back because you need them. Like, he's really struggling like on his own, and it's just, there's nothing I could do for him.
I don't know, because how is Shawn Michaels booking these matches, fire-ass women's matches for NXT?
Yeah.
And we get, what, one women's match or two women's matches or segments with the same women on a 3-hour show? Like, be serious. Be serious. NXT's what, an hour, 2 hours?
It's 2 hours.
Yeah. We used to talk about how
5 or 6 women segments.
Yeah.
I kind of have an idea. I mean, I don't want to say the real reason, but I think the reason is because they've backed themselves in a corner in both divisions. With Bianca, nobody, like the guy said, nobody knows who can actually dethrone her, right? Because she's been so strong. And then you have a division with a bunch of women that you haven't built up in years, or they're now just coming back, and you're screwing them all over pretty much. Like you said, Damage Control hasn't done anything noteworthy. Nikki Cross is going through another character change, and we're like confused. So we're like, right. we don't know of her. Who else is on Raw? Mia Yim just came back, and like when you really think about it, Mia Yim's coming back to a bunch of casuals who aren't familiar with her because she got caught up. She was wearing a mask the entire time, so we had no idea what she looked like. So you bring this woman back, and you expect a casual audience to get behind her for what? So you have an entire division, and then there's Bianca Belair who's on top of it, carrying it pretty much, and she can only do it for so long. Because like you said, she can't do it by herself. And you can tell like she's having to go into these matches thinking about how she's going to make this believable that her opponent can, take her down. Does that make sense? If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel like because of how over Bianca is, she's kind of Teflon right now. Like, she's really untouchable. So it's really hard to mess up with her. But I feel like he's kind of booking her to just be like John Cena, where like she just kind of never loses. And I feel like her having an opponent or a feud that challenges her, like how Sasha did, how Becky did, two of her best feuds were because these women were terrorizing the shit out of her. Now, like, every woman that Bianca feuds with is like a little girl to her. It's like, where's her competition? Like, it kind of just makes everyone else look like a joke, and like Bianca just has like no competition. Like, what's the point then?
That's literally what's happening with Roman right now, literally. So like, because you whenever they back themselves into a corner, they don't think of ways to get out of it. You can tell. They just keep going with the same thing until something bright and shiny pops up. So like, nobody knew who was going to be Roman until Cody came back. We're like, oh, of course, Cody's going to dethrone him, But obviously he got hurt, and so now we're sitting here thinking, what are we going to do now? What do we do now? And we're going through all of these matches with Roman, and he's become more complacent in these matches where you don't see him take his opponents as serious. And it's just made everything go downhill. And I think the same thing is happening with Bianca. I don't want to say she's became complacent, but you can tell that her matches have been kind of the same in my opinion, because she hasn't had much to work with. And that's kind of why I compare her to John Cena. She has all this hype and everything like that, but eventually it's going to get stale and it's going to get old, you know. And I don't want that for her.
I mean, like,
But
the
her
John
matches,
Cena comparison is also like, well, John Cena was starting to get hated on at some point
5
for
years ago.
how untouchable he was. So it's like, you know, you want to root for the baby face. Like, they have to have some kind of struggle for you to relate to them and like want to go behind them. Because like, I don't want to say I agree with, you know, when they had Becky beat her in 20 seconds, but that made people emotional. And like, I hated it. Like, I literally, like, I was like in my house, like cussing out like everything and everyone.
Girl, I was there live. I was sick.
Yeah. So like when Becky got it back, it's like, yes, like this was a challenge for her. Like, she was able to overcome that shit. And I'm not saying squash Bianca, like, but it's like, you know, give her some kind of challenge. Like, I don't understand why they just kind of letting all the other women look like dorks in comparison to her. Like, that doesn't benefit her or them.
Yeah. It's just,
Low-key,
I don't know where they go.
the Charlotte treatment. I feel like Charlotte was the same way. She had the belt for so long and she beat everybody. There's nothing else for her to do. She was getting stale. It was boring. I feel like it's going to be Bianca soon, because it's nobody else. I can't think of nobody else on the roster for her to face besides Charlotte if she comes back. When she comes back.
And that's a matter of even, we don't know much about their chemistry together either. So like,
right.
I feel like if she does that match with Charlotte, it could make or break her credibility for a time period. And that's why I'm saying, like, they booked her into a corner. So it's looking rough. I don't want to say it's looking rough, but it's looking kind of shaky in terms of her and the rest of her title reign, because I can't think of anybody.
Me neither.
Anybody who's
her. Well, it seems like they're starting to plant the seeds with her and Rhea. Oh, Bam, I love you. He sent another $10. I'm scared for Bianca Belair because I honestly don't know who they're gonna book against her for this WrestleMania, and that doesn't help that they're going to forces on Ronda. Bro,
no thoughts on that lady.
No thoughts, just
head empty. No thoughts. But I'm scared of who Bianca's gonna face too for WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is coming up. But low-key, I feel like she may lose for Rumble. Not to be a hater or anything, but I feel like she may lose at Rumble. And I think it may be to Charlotte at Rumble. Don't quote me on this.
I think Rhea's winning the Rumble, so that's why I don't think it's going to be her dethroning Bianca soon. But honestly, I don't see Rhea beating Bianca either. I don't, because it's a full circle type rivalry. And like we said, Bianca's not the same girl she was in NXT.
Right.
Rhea was washing her in NXT pretty much. Not washing her, but, you know, like, she wasn't really doing what she needed to do. So if you told me that Rhea was beating Bianca Belair in 2023, I would be like, you're joking, pretty much. You're like, it's not happening. She's on a whole different level in terms of just charisma, in ring, everything like that. You can't convince me Rhea Ripley, who dyed her hair black, is now going to be Bianca Belair. No.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't want her to be Bianca after all the NXT shit that they had to go through, but I low-key can feel it. I see it. But I can't be too mad, because we do need a change in the women's division, because it's been the same shit. Like I keep saying, it's just the same shit over and over.
Okay, so this is a really good super chat question. So, Ayo, thank you for the 5. How would y'all fix the SmackDown women's division using only the talent already on the main roster? I would say, I'm going to actually answer this using what Melina told me in my interview with her, which is one of my favorite things that she said in our conversation. So if you guys didn't watch it, she basically said that she actually appreciated that SmackDown didn't have a women's title, but Raw did, because it forced the women to have to understand storytelling and be able to build feuds and have chemistry with one another. So I think taking that logic and using that on the SmackDown roster and basically, like, obviously there's a title on the roster, but it's being held hostage by a break right now. So I feel like the best thing to do is to just like take the SmackDown 2016 route where they were just having like the women having emotional feuds with each other, not for the belts. Like just book them to, you know, have their own storylines. Maybe the payout is on a pay-per-view, maybe it's on the show, on the weekly program. Who cares? Like let them work on storylines together. I feel like that would be a good way to improve the roster because if you remember like SmackDown in it was 2016, right? When they had the OG6. Yeah. Like Nikki Bella was having like amazing feuds, not for the title, with Carmella, with Natalya. Like all the women were just interesting because they were all being used to some degree. So I feel like that would be a good way to fix the division is just to like, just have them have feuds with each other. Like everything doesn't just need to be for the title. You don't have to constantly bring people back. Like you have a roster of women, like just have them go against each other. Like have Liv, you know, really pull the trigger on Liv's character that she's been working on.
I agree. Shout out to
It's
Liv.
doable. It's doable because they're doing it in NXT right now. If you watch NXT, they're really doing it in NXT right now. They have several feuds going on right now. You have Nikita and Zoe Starks. You have Mandy and Alba. Well, Alba is actually beefing with two different girls right now. So they actually transcend different feuds by ending one. So like it's not like one girl gets beat and then she just disappears. No, she's going into something else, you know? So I think maybe they need to consider taking some props from NXT because NXT had like 20 girls on their show one night, something like that, showcase, and they were all doing something different. So it's not that they don't have the talent to do it. They don't want to, you know?
Yeah.
And they could have booked Sonya versus Liv. They could have kept that going because every week everybody was talking about, oh, what's Liv doing this week? You know, what she's up to. So I think they could have dragged Sonya versus Liv a lot longer. I think they could definitely do something with the tag titles have been defended and got since Crown Jewel, right? So they can, you know, bring them back to SmackDown. It's just they're not really using their resources, and the excuse can't just be because Ronda Rousey's the champion and everybody has to go one by one in line for a championship opportunity. That's not how it doesn't have to be that way. Give them a tournament, like they can give them a tournament. They gave the men a tournament out of nowhere. Give the women something to fight for, you know? Like
what the
why
hell
are they
is a World Cup tournament?
What does
that even mean?
Like, do the women not have a World Cup now? I'm sorry. Like, you know, so it's just excuses. That's what it is. And they can't get away
They're
with that.
just lazy. That's what I feel.
No, bro. In the words of our girl, you know, friend of the podcast, Taryn, Triple H just don't like women. Okay, that's a harsh accusation, but like, I feel like actions speak louder than words. So he needs to prove that he really supports the women. Like, do more. The talent is right there. Like, if you can have, what's that guy's name? Not Jermaine Dupri. What's his name? What was his name? Max Dupri.
Yeah, Max.
If you can have him wrestle Ricochet for no, I'm so sorry. You can have him wrestle Ricochet for no goddamn reason, and then just like, who cares about either of them? No offense. I'm sure they're both like have fans, I guess. But like, if you can have like one-off matches with like the guys, why can't you just have like, you know, Xia Li versus Shotzi one week, and then like Liv versus Shayna the next week, and just have regular matches and see what gets over. Let them develop their characters. Having them backstage doing nothing and just sitting on their hands waiting for a title opportunity, that doesn't benefit anyone.
Wait, did you say Jermaine Durpee?
She said Jermaine Dupri.
I meant Max Dupri.
Jermaine? Where did you get that?
I forgot. What's his name?
I think his name
is not Max Dupri no more.
It's LA Knight.
His wrestling name was LA Knight.
I was like, Jesus.
My bad. Okay, I'm like never gonna get over that. But
me neither. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be laughing at Jermaine Dupri for like years.
We have another super chat from Bam, I think. Yeah, so Bam says it seems the SmackDown's women roster was built of women that champions can beat, and on to the next one. They need other storylines about the title. Thank you so much again for another super chat. Yeah, 100%. Everything doesn't need to be for the belt. Like,
I agree.
Like, it's very basic logic. Like, I don't understand why this even has to be a conversation. Like, it should be a given. Like, just put the women on the show.
And we don't even care what they do, and we just want to see more women. Like, why are we sitting here for 2-3 hours and we only seen one women's match or one women's segment? What was the point of having a women's roster if we're not going to see them? Like, duh.
Yeah.
I can't.
Oh, look.
So I'm going to segue this into something I wanted to talk about. So me and Jade were having like a briefly conversation about this earlier, about kind of complacency in wrestling and how, wrestling, like in its current landscape, it hasn't really been like elevated much, or like, I mean, for the most part, like the three of us consume WWE. Like AEW is good. Like, I'm not shitting on any brand in particular, but like, I feel like that's like a good conversation to have. Like, what does wrestling need more of, and what can we do without? What do you guys think?
Well,
you can go first.
Oh, okay. I know for me, for WWE, I feel like they're so promo based and then wrestling that they forget like the storytelling aspect of it. Like, they only want to tell stories with certain feuds, like with certain people. And I feel like, what's the point of having a fucking feud if we're not gonna have a storyline? Like, just seeing the same people, seeing people wrestle just to wrestle every week, doing nothing and not having a real storyline about it, that just pisses me off. It makes me not want to watch it. And I feel like WWE does that a lot, at least on the main roster. They do that a lot. Or they'll have a storyline and then they'll just end it and you'll never see it again.
No, literally.
Like, what's the point of that? That's what we can do less of, with telling stories and then ending it the next week, and don't even give it time to build up or give it time to let the fans even enjoy it. Like, that's crazy to me.
I mean, I think there can be a balance between that, because most of my favorite matches this year were done based off of just random, if that makes sense. Like, they were just thrown on the card. So I think a balance would be good, because right now, like storyline wise, the Bloodline storyline, I'm loving all of it. In terms of just the Bloodline.
Yeah.
And once you actually break down everything that's going on with their storyline, you're like, okay, I want to keep going with this. But in terms, I don't think any promotion has found like a balance of having a good match and a good storyline. And I don't think it's completely their fault. I think it's just like, everybody has their weaknesses. Not every wrestler can tell a story. Not every wrestler can put on a banger every single week. And I think it's just, they have to learn their roster. They have to learn. They have to want to see what they can all bring, and then find the chemistry and whatnot. But it's just a balance, and I think we need to see more of bringing these people in. Like, Ali should have been a star by now. And the fact that they put him up here, and for some reason there's something that's always bringing him back, it just makes no sense. It's like they're scared to pull the trigger with him, and it's happened. He's not the only victim of that. So the hesitation of trying to make a new star has set back a lot of companies, and I think they need to reevaluate that. That's something we need to see more of, is reevaluating what stars you want, and knowing that you can't have more than one star.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I do too.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just been so much laziness with building up talent, because the talent is right in front of you. And also, you know what I really miss in wrestling? Because I posted this on my Twitter some time ago, of like this backstage segment that Eddie Guerrero had where he just went crazy. And I was like, this is a very simple concept. It's just a backstage segment, but like the passion that he had and the way he was able to just like act his ass off, it was just so amazing. And it's like, I feel like certain quirks are not like, they're not really as highlighted anymore in wrestling, where it's just like the creativity is just more so for like, how are we going to have a storyline for a title match or whatever. It's like, why can't we just have like the wrestlers do creative things, like show their personalities, let them act. If they don't know how to act, teach them how to act. You have a performance center. Like, what happened to acting? What happened to, being able to tell a story in your matches? especially for WWE being so like sports entertainment based. It's like this, the entertainment is kind of just like it's so much more stale now. I feel like there's certain aspects of wrestling that were so beloved back in the day, and I don't mean to be a freaking nostalgia merchant, but I swear there's just certain things that just need to come back. I feel like presentation also, like wrestlers is kind of like, it's gotten to the point where like a lot of these guys kind of just look similar. They don't do anything that distinguishes them. Right. They're kind of doing the same moves. Or not even the same moves, but having like similar styles as each other. Where like back in the day, like wrestlers would like literally try to like come up with brand new moves like all the time. And like, you know, those are the moves that a lot of people use now, and that's great. But it's like, come up with something new. Like what is it about you that makes you special? Like, why should I care about you more than the next guy?
Exactly. Wrestling does need a lot more personality, because I feel like everything is just so bland. Like not everybody wants to have the same character, but I feel like every time I see not new wrestlers on the indies, but in WWE, it's like stuff that we've seen before. Like the Mandy Rose. Well, Mandy's doing good in NXT. I'm not going to be a hater. Not going to lie. She has been doing her thing in NXT. But I feel like it's something we've seen before. Like, it's giving Emmalina low key. No hate to Emma. Didn't she just come back, by the way, too?
Yeah. And like didn't do anything.
Doing the same thing. Doing the same thing that got her fired.
They just had her wrestle Ronda, and then she hasn't had a match since. Like, how am I supposed to believe that her return mattered if you're not even going to use her beyond that point? Like,
they just suck. I don't know. They need to get it together. I just think I don't even know what to think right now. Wrestling, at least WWE wise, they just need to get a lot of things together. If they could take a break and come back, if they could have an off season, I feel like that would do them wonders, because a lot of these people just need to regroup, recharge, rethink a whole bunch of shit, and come back better than ever. Like, everything doesn't have to be just continuous. They just need a break for sure, because I feel like once they have that break to really take that time and think about what they want to do, how they want to look, how they want to act, then it would be so much better.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. What's that? The fuck? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, about an off season, because remember like when WWE came back from the pandemic era Thunderdome, there was so much hype around like being able to come back and like perform in front of a crowd again. That was like, even though they were running shows, it was kind of like felt like an off season, just because you know, it was a lot more chill. Like, it was whatever. It was what it was. I wasn't really watching it for me to even comment. But then when they came back, like everyone was just so excited. Like everyone was just like, I felt like that was like also what brought me back into watching wrestling, because I wasn't watching during the pandemic. So when they came back, it's like, it's refreshing. It's new. It's like, we're back. Right. So for them to, I feel like an off season would be very helpful. Like in like that kind of a concept.
I do too. At least like a month or 2 months, 3 months even. They'll be fine. They'll be booming. But I don't know how these people would do without wrestling for 3 months, especially WWE, because they be sick if they miss one show. So I don't know, but they really do need an off season, or at least a little break.
Yeah, because they've done this before. I don't know if you remember, but like the way they like transitioned into the Ruthless Aggression era, because like the whole year before that era happened, it was chaotic. It was horrible. And then as they brought in the draft, they brought in all these new things, and wrestling was booming from like 2002 to like from like 2008. And so if you put people, you give people these ideas, and like I was thinking, WWE is too artificial right now in terms of their character work. Talking Smack, I think, helped a lot of people during that era, and they need to recycle, like go back to that, because like I said, nobody was really checking for the Miz until he cut that little blow up on
Raw. That promo.
Yeah.
Like, I love Miz now, but nobody was really, checking for him, and that wasn't completely his fault, because he in his promo he said, "You're not booking me, and I've been holding this title, and you're not doing anything with it," So I really think that they needed to let these wrestlers be wrestlers and let them figure themselves out without having to have so much input on it. Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Raw Talk as well. Raw Talk was kind of dope. I liked when the wrestlers got to, like we said, to show their personalities and actually talk and say stuff that they want to say that they can't usually say in front of the crowd or in front of these kids and the fans. They would be going in on talking smack, like just showing some the fun side of wrestling. I mean, wrestling itself is fun, and the wrestling and the promos are fun, but who wants to see somebody be generic and do the same thing all the time? Like, it's okay to show you off screen. Like, it's okay to just show a little bit of personality, have fun every now and then. Everything's so serious.
Yeah, I'm gonna push my little Shield agenda because I feel like they're a really good example of WWE. Like, they put together this group with an amazing. Oh shit! Oh, I just dropped my water. Sorry about that. But anyways, so WWE like had this group like with a completely original concept. They had their own aesthetic, like how they were like doing like the promos with like the cameras and like a back room, and like they had like at some point like, you know, they arrived on a tank, they arrived on a helicopter. They had their own aesthetic, and not only were they booked to be dominant, but they were actually dominant. They had probably the best first year that like I've ever seen, and it made them stars. Like, if they didn't have that first year and they weren't presented in the way they were presented, I don't think they would be the superstars they are now, because the three of them are like respectively the top guys in the promotions that they're a part of. So it's like the way that they just like were able to put together like such an original concept, and the three of them were obviously just so amazing. They were always like in sync. Like when you watch them wrestle, I was watching their debut match with Ryback and Team Hell No. And I was like in awe of the fact that these three guys, this is their first wrestling match together. And I felt like they'd been wrestling together for years at that point. Like they just like naturally had it. And like when you see talent like that, you don't let that go to waste. And so that's why the Shield was so special. And that's why like to this day, people like me can't get over it. Like I'm a nostalgia merchant for the Shield until I die. I don't care. I'm one of them. And I'll be one of them till I die. It's like that whole era cannot be replicated. And I mean, to me, it's like, I know we're talking about like, you know, fix their presentations, fix, you know, whatever else. It's like, you can't really do it like how they did with the Shield. That was just like, that was just special. But my thing is like, you had something like that. And it's been like a decade since we've had like such an amazing dominant group that was original and that got over, and they were just to this day beloved. And why can't you use that same brain power to build someone new up with like kind of like a similar idea of just like, we're going to make someone a superstar in their first year? Like, how is it that you can be lazy with like building stars up? Obviously, you know how to.
I don't think that's just, I think that's also a fan issue too, though, when you really think about it.
How so?
Because we get bored so easily with things. Because like something will work and it will get old very quickly. And I think a good example for that was like John Cena. I watched one of his episodes the other day, and like he would literally, the reason he got over is because he would come out and rap about something different every single week. You know, like he would come out and just do something different every week, and that's why he was so consistent with being over with the fans. And you can't just have these people come out with the same thing, kind of the same promo every single week. That's how we like ended up turning on Charlotte, you know?
Exactly.
Stuff like that. Like, we know you're the queen, Ric Flair's daughter, everything like that. But like, what else? You know? So they can build a star. It's just a matter of how you want to make sure they can continue to be stars. And I don't think they think after the fact of all of that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense also with like when the Shield broke up, the career trajectory of the three of them, because it kind of took a while for Roman, even though Roman Reigns was beloved in the Shield when he was on his own, it kind of took him a while to like really find himself, and then also took a while for the fans to appreciate him. Way too long for the fans to appreciate him. So it was like, yeah, it was that personally never made sense to me, because like, how do you turn on someone that quickly?
I kind of understand why. It's because people could see through. I personally, I saw through Roman. That whole I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy. You're a bad guy. You know, like nobody could like. I genuinely saw through Roman the entire time. Like you're not convincing me like you're this good guy. I'm sorry, and I'm glad that eventually they let him be him. You know, because like you can. I honestly, anytime I see Roman, I think he's genuinely being himself. I really do. I
I
really do
do
think
too.
he's just this confident guy who thinks he's above everybody else. I genuinely think that, and that's why it's been working for so long.
And that's why I like when they let those wrestlers actually be themselves instead of forcing them to be something they're not. Because not everybody can fake it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Roman couldn't. That's why it didn't work because we could
That's
see through it.
exactly, and that's why so many people didn't like him. Like, I mean, if you know that you're a bad guy at heart, you might as well stick to it. Because whether you're a bad guy or a good guy, if you can do that character good enough, you can do it for a long time. As long as you switch it up and be a bad guy, there's still gonna be people that rock with you, like me, like us, like
Yeah.
Kobe. Shout out to Kobe.
Yeah.
We be rocking with him. I can't think of anybody else that I really F with other than Sasha and Roman like that. Because I like it when they genuinely can be themselves. Like, I see a lot of myself in them. So maybe because I'm a hater, I be feeling it. But
maybe that's why I'm connected with Seth, because he's just an asshole. Like, he just wants to like terrorize people and just like laugh in their face and just be like,
that's literally you.
Yeah.
That's literally you.
Yeah, literally. Maybe that's actually a really interesting point. I always notice that people gravitate, like the wrestlers that they like, it's like they gravitate towards them because they kind of like see something in them. I think that's why CM Punk's fans are really annoying.
Yeah, they're annoying, just like him. And that says a lot, because I used to be a CM Punk fan.
So the super chat we have here.
Oh shit.
Bam, thanks for the $5. Said maybe they
Bam
can
is
do
a real one.
Right, a rotation. I don't think that would work personally. Seeing different people every 3 to 6 months, I think that would just form like a disconnect, and then not everybody's gonna be on their shit during their off time, you know. So what if somebody's gone for 3 to 6 months and then they come back and they're horrible? Because not all wrestlers are gonna be training. I promise you, not every wrestler's training after they go pro. So things like that, it could possibly backfire. And I don't think that would work. I think, what if you have these people come in and nobody's getting over? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just
Plus,
a risk would backfire, I think.
I agree. Plus, these fans, if they do one thing that they don't like, or if they just think they're boring from their entrance, they don't want to see it. Like Peyton Royce, when she killed her career over that dumbass entrance.
Oh,
that killed it. That
was terrible. That was terrible. But you know what? I feel like that could work with some people, the breaks, because it kind of gives the fans opportunity to miss them. I don't think the whole roster should be on a rotation, because, some people might become kind of lose themselves. Like, some people need to be more consistent. But then I feel like in certain situations, like with Bayley, for example, like when she was gone for as long as she was, people genuinely missed her. Like, they just couldn't wait for her to come back. They kept speculating when she's going to come back. People missed Becky recently. Like, when she came back, her return was special. So it's like, I feel like breaks are very healthy, and they should be used for like when people are starting to get stale, or just don't have anything to do. Like, every time Sasha got off TV, when she came back, it was a huge pop, and she would come back to a big feud. And it's like, it gave the fans like an opportunity to miss her. So I think that works for certain people, but I feel like you have to be someone worth missing. Like, you can't just have like, what's his name from the Brawling Brutes, not Butch, but the Brawlic one.
Oh, the one that hurt Biggie.
Yeah.
His
if
name
he's
is
off TV for like 4 months,
right,
he's
no
off
one would
TV
care.
for like, no one's gonna care. But then like, if Sheamus is gone, people are gonna be like, where the fuck is Sheamus? Like, it could work for certain people, but I feel like
I don't think
it just wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
It shouldn't happen too often, because like Sasha took so many breaks, people stopped taking her seriously kind of for a minute. So it's just it's a tricky ideal to do. I mean, I do like they did it with Britt Baker at one point. Britt was gone for like a good 2 months, I think, and I don't want to say people missed her, but her presence was noticed to be gone. But it also gave time for us to have a look into other talents also. And I think they should do that with WWE definitely. Like give us a break from certain wrestlers, which I think Ronda Rousey would be a good time after.
Right, I agree.
It's funny because that was kind of the idea with Charlotte. Like we miss Charlotte now, but like
we're begging for Charlotte Flair, right?
where it's like when she was like had the belt, people were like get her out, like get her out of here. But now it's like, well, damn, like the roster needs a Charlotte. So in that situation, it's just like, yeah, it gives people a chance to miss her. Yeah, honestly, I feel like if Ronda was gone, people wouldn't miss her very much because she
doesn't add anything. She does. I can't name one thing she did good for the division or added to the division that somebody else couldn't do.
No, because when she returned in the Rumble, it was like, and she won. Who was popping for that? Like who was excited for that?
Not me.
Who did she eliminate, by the way, to win? Like,
wasn't it Becky or Charlotte?
Was so traumatic for me. I did a data dump and I don't remember a lot.
Whole thing was just messy because I was thinking Sasha was going to win that.
Bro, Ronda just came, took from my queen,
right,
and she's just been holding everyone back ever since.
She beat Asuka. Like when she upstaged Asuka. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, that was terrible.
Not to be a party pooper or anything, but I really do have to go. I did have so much fun, and I want to do this again.
Really?
Yes.
I'm like gonna cry because you said this would be your first and last podcast, but like this has been a vibe.
Deadass. I've been having fun. Like y'all are chill to talk to. They've been chill in the comments.
Yeah.
I've been having fun, but I do have to go, and I do want to thank y'all for letting me come on here because
thank you for coming.
So much fun. And
now make sure you follow Angel. Make sure you like. No, don't leave. Don't
follow me.
Don't
I'm a hater. Angel. I don't think y'all gonna like that. But I did have fun, and I am gonna continue to watch. Y'all about to see me in the comments, and I'm gonna give y'all a tip. Don't worry, and we gonna be back. I'll be back.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye, y'all. I had so much fun.
Okay.
All right.
Israel, you want to get into the CM Punk talk so bad.
Wait, what was that?
You want to get into the CM Punk talk so bad, but because I get questioned about it a lot, so I will talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
I am a CM Punk girl. Always have been, always will be. That's a man.
Wait, before I keep going, when I'm talking about CM Punk fans being annoying, I'm definitely not talking about the girls. Like it's the guys who think that they're like him, and like they'll try to like look like him and do his facial hair and like act like him, and they really think that they're him. I just noticed the trend when it comes to male CM Punk fans. Like y'all are not him. It's okay to be a fan of someone and not like try to be that person. Like, but yeah, no. Continue, but I wanted to let you know it's not a sneak diss on the girls.
It's just the lack of accountability, I feel like, in wrestling in general. And like I said, we don't work backstage. We don't work backstage. We have no idea who these people are, how they actually are in and out of the ring. And it's really frustrating to see everybody take this one man and be like, hey, he's the problem. Get him out of here, and I think it's not fair because I keep in touch with these reports, and look, a couple months ago people were reporting, oh yeah, Punk is loved backstage, he stays and he gives everybody tips, and the crew loves him, everybody loves him, and now it's all of a sudden it's everybody wants him gone, and stuff like that. And I was kind of like, you can't sit here and tell me that this man is not wanted in this promotion. You can't tell me that. Like, I can't, you're not convincing me that. And the fact that this whole agenda is being spread that this man is a problem everywhere he goes, I can't get behind it. I think there's a reason he is the way he is. And I just can't get behind saying that he's the problem behind everything. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like to a degree, like you know, maybe he's just one of these cases where just problems chase him, and like when he just doesn't know necessarily how to go about handling certain issues without his ego getting in the way. And this is like, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I've been a CM Punk hater since 2012, and I started watching wrestling in 2014. So I have like hella reasons why I don't like CM Punk.
Yeah.
But it's like, now that I'm kind of like looking at this whole situation, like I feel like the drama has just gotten really old, and I'm just looking at like this group of just grown ass men that are having like petty drama.
Exactly.
And it's like, no, it's like, in my opinion, all of them are above that. Like, I may not be a CM Punk fan, and to be honest, like I don't dislike the Elite. I love Hangman, but at the same time, like I see both sides at this point, and I feel like both sides are wrong to a certain degree, because it's like you can't just be like backstage trying to rally someone against someone else. It's like you all work in the same company. You are all liable to get fired at any second. Like you all work for the man. You're not. This isn't no gang shit.
Like 3 of them are above majority of the talent they work that are under them. So keep that in mind. But
right.
I mean, I know I've been hearing that Punk has always had an issue. I'm looking at the comment right now. Ayo said that's not necessarily true. That there were reports from day one that people didn't like Punk from the Fed Indies. I'm like, that's true. Like, but like, not everybody's gonna like your favorite wrestler. Not everybody's gonna like you. Because like in wrestling, you can turn anybody off just like that. So I just think that I don't see him being a problem every single time. And like you said, these are grown men. They can simply just, nobody had to, like run up on each other or confront each other. They could have been like, oh, let's sit down, talk about this tomorrow morning and figure this out, because that man was pissed. He went on a scrum and he went the hell off. We need to sit down and talk about this. And I just think that it could have been avoided easily, but I don't want to sit here and say that he's the problem behind all of it, because it's not true. Because
I can see your perspective.
He was mad for a reason. So you can't sit here and say that, oh nah, he's the problem, when he went in mad as hell for a reason, if that makes sense.
And also, I think the fact that it's become so public, it's just like, if you're gonna be like a team player and have like this pack mentality, then wouldn't you not want to make this company look bad? Like, you don't want this drama to like go into the media and like have this be the talking point instead of the wrestling that's on the show.
Because they like to make everything turn into like a work and stuff like that. But now it's just like, I'm kind of uncomfortable knowing all this information, So it's just like, it's definitely a lot of things to work on, because like knowing about the whole Andrade and Sammy stuff, that made me, it was uncomfortable knowing that even went down, It was uncomfortable knowing what Punk said about Colt Cabana, like all of that. I didn't need to know any of that, I didn't need to know that the Elite confronted Punk backstage. I didn't want to know any of that, I want to be able to enjoy this product without knowing that my favorite wrestlers are beefing and stuff like that. So, and yeah, like somebody said, like that whole thing overshadowed the entire pay-per-view. It overshadowed MJF coming back. And I love MJF down. So when he came back and I couldn't even focus on him coming back, it was very disappointing. So it's something to work on.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, like I've also kind of just gotten to the point where it's just like, I'm just so tired of hearing about it. It's like, the way I'm looking at it, it's like I'm very amused by like men's drama. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was amusing, but it got old too. And it's just like, at this point, just like make up, like figure it out backstage, work on that, like cut this petty shit out. Because like, I don't know, like I kind of wasn't really amused when they had Colt Cabana come out as, well, did they do that in Chicago?
No, not Chicago, but was it Virginia, I think it was the Virginia.
But yeah, no, like basically like bringing him back to kind of like slight CM Punk. I'm just like,
and that was messy, because he makes Punk look like he wasn't telling the truth, by saying that when he got brought back, Colt Cabana was gone. So it makes it seem like, oh no, they were telling the truth. Punk was the reason why Colt Cabana wasn't on AEW anymore. And that makes the whole entire thing even more messy, when it was said that Punk wasn't the reason that Colt Cabana was on AEW. So it just made the whole entire thing even more messy than it had to be. And It's just unfortunate that it got this far because, like I said, we just want to watch wrestling. Like, I want to see CM Punk wrestle again, you know? And I don't know if I would get to see him wrestle again, unfortunately.
That's crazy. I just saw this comment. Punk should have been like Andrade and smacked them on the spot instead. This is what I mean about like grown men and their pettiness. Like what is the point of doing that? To be honest, like I feel like backstage fights shouldn't warrant someone getting fired. It shouldn't warrant someone like, and this is not just about CM Punk. Like if there's ever a backstage fight, like bro, like Jericho has been involved in fights, Booker T's been involved in fights. There's been like a lot of credible wrestlers that are respected that have been involved in fights. And it's like, does that mean you need to lose your job over it?
I think the problem with this mostly was because, like I said, the status of the elite.
Yeah.
They're EVPs, you know? And I think that's why this was a way bigger deal than the whole Andrade and Sammy thing. So you have these people in charge and they're knocking on somebody's door and you're kind of like, whoa, like what's going on? We got like the biggest draw beefing with the elite. Like it's the elite. They're like untouchable in people's eyes. So it's all chaotic. It all happened too fast. It went on for too long. And I'm really, yeah.
To be honest, I think Tony Khan, like if he was to let CM Punk go, that would be like the dumbest thing he could do. Like, because despite how I might feel about Punk, it's like he really does bring them a ton of money. And I feel like, okay, I'm going to make like a pop culture reference. It's like if Cardi B and Nicki Minaj decided to hop on a song together, how much that would like change the culture with like female rap. I feel like if the elite and CM Punk kind of like squashed their shit and just worked a program together as grown-ass men, it would be like, I feel like that would make AEW look so good. I feel like that would make them so much money.
Yeah, because I would eat up a Kenny Omega and CM Punk match now. Okay.
They never wrestled?
If it was just the fight without Punk on Puppy, he would probably stay off the job. I think he just come on top of the fight.
What Ayo saying?
He's getting his point across. Okay. But the media's come on top of the
I know
fight.
if Ayo was on here, he would be going crazy because like he's not
Ayo,
going for this.
Ayo wants to come at me, and I want to talk to him about it 1-on-1 because he tried to put me on blast last week about it. But like you said, just grown men, sit down, put Adam Cole in between both of them and have them talk about it, like Anna said. Like literally, like Anna said, just have that happen because it's horrible. Cardi. Okay, now you're pushing. I'm a Barb, so you need to stop that, Ayo. Stop it. Stop it.
Wait, what did he say?
Cardi would watch the Super Freaky Grandma sadly. Get at it. With what writing?
I'm not gonna lie. I like Cardi more than I like Nikki, but I like both of them. And then when it comes to like Hangman and Punk, like I fuck with Hangman more. I feel like Punk is just washed. Like, I don't know, man. When he came back, like he just wasn't him. Like he wasn't moving like how he used to move. He wasn't like.
I can't. You've probably been watching longer than I. When did you start watching AEW consistently?
When did I start watching AEW? Around Forbidden Door. Were you watching before or after Forbidden Door?
I started watching April consistently is when I actually started watching. Before that, I was not watching a lot. Like before I watched in April, I watched the first. I think it was All Out. I think like their first show or something like that. I don't know, but
I don't know. Like my thing with Punk is like everything that made him interesting and got him over in WWE, he just dropped when he came to AEW. Like he was just like, you know, I love the fans. I love you guys. Let's have this love fest. And, you know, I'm just gonna be washed in the ring. And if you like his wrestling, like
I don't like
that's
that.
you. I don't know. I just feel like it was just like a nostalgia tour that he was going on. Like he wasn't doing the things that made him interesting in terms of like character and personality and like in ring work. Like I feel like he just struggled a lot.
I think it had, and I think that's Hangman said it himself. Like he was protecting AEW from CM Punk because he didn't want him to be champion. I'm like, yo, like if Punk got the championship and he became what he was in like 2014, not 2014, but like 2012 and stuff like that, I promise you, we would have all been eating that up. Like I just, like you said, it just feels like a tour of him just going around being like, hey, I'm back and all this. and that's not what we want. We know who you are. We know what you're actually about. Don't give us this BS of you just being happy to be here, because we know that's not you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, CM Punk is just very controversial. Like, everyone's gonna have their opinions about him, but it is what it is at this point. Like, I just feel like personally it would be stupid if Tony Khan was to let him go. But at the same time, I don't want to watch him wrestle. It's just like I'm not interested in like the business side of it all, because it's like obviously like it would be stupid if Tony was to let him go. But at the same time, it's like as a fan, he does nothing for me. So like if he was to go, I wouldn't be too hurt about it. But CM Punk has like, I don't even know how many fans. Like he's very influential. So like I think a lot of people would be hurt. So it's like it's just a lot of different aspects with this.
Politics. It's all politics.
It's a lot. And also like I feel like that's kind of like holding back like the culture of wrestling is just like how much politics goes on, because God knows like I don't know that much about it. I feel like if our guy Hangman was on here, he could probably do like a better rundown of it than I could. But it's like the way I look at it is like y'all all work for the man. Like unless you're an independent wrestler, but like y'all work for the man. Like I feel like you should have each other's backs if anything else. It's just very stupid. Like because you could literally lose your job tomorrow and be like a nobody at the end of the day. Like I don't know.
Somebody said Tony just got to keep him isolated from the people that don't like him. It shouldn't. That's not a good environment to be in at all. And knowing that, from what I've heard, that the environment that AEW currently has, people not liking each other and stuff, you shouldn't want to have an environment where you can't be around certain people. So I don't think that's gonna solve anything. Like I said, sit these men down, these grown-ass men, sit them down, have them talk it out, realize that this is business, we're here to make money, and we're here to wrestle. Because that's what we're here to watch. I don't want to know what's going on behind the scenes. I really don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good luck to him. Because I think at the end of the day, like whatever that's supposed to happen is gonna happen. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want him to go to WWE either. It's just like mostly because I don't want him anywhere near Seth, and like my interests are just like,
oh my god,
people I want around Seth.
No, I think
that's my agenda.
I think if he doesn't come back to AEW, he's just done altogether, and it's it would be a shame if that's what ended his pro wrestling career, if that's how he goes out,
Yeah.
But
so
anything else to talk about, or any questions? Like, go back to writing. Go to India.
I feel like we covered everything. I feel like this podcast was such a vibe. Like I really enjoyed it. And like thank you to everyone that was in the live chat too. You guys were amazing. Yeah, I think it's time to wrap up. I feel like we had like a really amazing conversation. I think that's like a good way to end it. Thoughts?
Yeah, they starting to argue in the super chat. So yeah.
What's up?
They starting to argue in the chat. So yeah, we got to wrap this up.
That's the thing, bro. They were so civil when it was WWE talk. They were like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not doing enough.
That's why I was like, I don't want to get into this elite talk.
And then as soon as it's AEW, they're like ready to fight, bro. Yeah. AEW fans, I'm a new AEW sexual. I'm having a really hard time with the sensitivity thing. Like AEW fans, y'all are sensitive. Definitely. Like very sensitive. The other day I tweeted that AEW crowds will pop for anything. And I only tweeted that because a wrestler I didn't like was on and he was getting crowd reactions. And I was just like, why? So it wasn't even like I was sneak dissing the fans. I was more so sneak dissing him and saying like, oh, y'all cheer for anybody. And like my comments was flooded with like, well, at least we like to have fun. Like we know how to actually enjoy a wrestling show. You're supposed to pop for everything. And I'm just like, it's just an observation. Like I was trying to jump me.
Really They're like, well,
I didn't even say nothing crazy.
You can't say anything. You can't say any type of criticism about the product without them having some type of rebuttal. And I'm like, yo, like if you don't have an opinion on AEW, you just can't have an opinion on it, good or bad. Just don't have one at this point.
All right, this for AL. Ayo. He's going off in the chat. The elite. The elite. That's just for Ayo. I'm never doing that again. Anyways, we had a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, remember to subscribe. Remember to turn on the post notifications. We do live streams with so many different podcasts on. All of them are amazing. WrestlePurists has an incredible web of really talented and really smart people in the wrestling community, and we continue to expand, continue to grow. And I couldn't be more proud of everyone. WrestlePurists, Unpurist was on the other day. They're on Fridays, our brother show. Probably one of the funniest podcasts I've ever seen. They went crazy. Like, I love the guys. Fully support them, like, till the wheels fall off. WrestlePurists Worldwide, they kind of get into more like nerdy conversations. There's the flagship show after AEW Dynamite where they do reviews. Yeah, we're just trying to like push out more content, hopefully get more interviews done, just work. Because at the moment, it's kind of looking like WrestlePurist is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing wrestling platform right now. So I just couldn't be more proud. So thank you guys for being here. You know, before we totally blow up, because it's going to happen. 100%. It's going to happen. Yeah, make sure you join the Discord as well. Be a part of the community. This is definitely a community-based platform, so everyone's voices are heard. Everyone matters. Yeah, we just love everyone at WrestlePurists. So enjoy all wrestling. At the end of the day, you know, this is a really niche community, and you know, not a lot of people get it, but we do, and this is just something to be proud of. So Thank you, Jade, for joining. Thank you to Angel, who joined earlier. You guys were so amazing. I'm so freaking proud. Jade, any last? You want to like do any shout outs? Anything else before we get out?
Shout out to my bestie Ashanti, current pro wrestler, up and coming. Check her out. Well, her name is Maya's World, so check her out. And again, shout out to Jada Stone, up and coming wrestler. And I just want to say thank you for having me. I've been wanting to be on.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, and I'm glad you had me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. All right. So, Monty, cue my music.